Welcome back, everyone. This is GOATcast Sports, and the 2023-2024 NBA Media Day is upon us, for better or worse. And with training camp in the preseason, I think it's time to do a way too early prediction on which teams are title contenders and who are playoff pretenders. So I'll examine 4 teams from the Western Conference in this video and 4 from the Eastern Conference later this week. So sit back and relax, and let's hop into some early predictions in no particular order. But first, if you enjoy NBA breakdowns and analysis, please like and subscribe to the channel. Can't do this without you guys. Also, if you enjoy podcasts, and I'm sure you do, check out my new podcast channel in the description. I try to drop new episodes every Wednesday. So now let's start in the Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors. Well, after a triumphant return to form in 2022, the Warriors looked good in flashes last year en route to a second-round exit to the Los Angeles Lakers. Then they traded for Chris Paul in the offseason, unloaded their overpriced but capable wing Jordan Poole, who I guess had become a liability since the Warriors decided to re-up Draymond Green. I'm not sure if they're going for the first senior citizen team to win a championship to add to their lore, but they've certainly gotten older, and as we saw last postseason, without size and youth, they're going to have trouble when the game slows down. But can the Splash Brothers carry CP3 to one ring? I'm not sure with the way this team is constructed. With Kerr saying Paul will have a starting role, that means likely all the starters are shifting one position, with likely Andrew Wiggins switching to the bench. I can't see a logical way they have Draymond and Wiggins start, as that would mean their tallest player on the court at tip-off is 6'7". We're going to have to play teams like Nikola Jokic, Anthony Davis, Sabonis, Karl Anthony Towns, among other giants multiple times throughout the season. So they'd have to start Kevon Looney, who made some major strides as far as his inside presence in the last few years. That just doesn't scream championship or bust. While they have shooters, they have pretty decent defenders in Draymond, Gary Payton II, Wiggins, and Clay. They're just entirely too small. And I thought giving Dwight Howard a little run would have been wise, but nonetheless, I think this, in my mind, is an easy verdict. Definitely a pretender, and while they'll probably be solid throughout the regular season, they will hit a huge snag come playoff time unless they make some big man moves throughout the season. The Phoenix Suns. It seemed too good to be true for the Suns last season, having been a year removed from an NBA Finals appearance. They stuck with mostly their same roster and were solid, but just not next level. Then they went out and got a disgruntled with the Nets, Kevin Durant, and everything shifted from probably a one and done in the playoffs to actual title favorites. Of course, that didn't materialize, but a big-time swing with the trade for Bradley Beal and sending CP3 packing may have changed their future. The Phoenix Suns now look sneaky good. After helping facilitate a trade in which Portland sent Damian Lillard to Milwaukee, they have hauled in some decent pieces. Yusuf Nurkic was probably brought in to replace the traded DeAndre Ayton. I think that's a perfect fit for the Suns, as he can do all the dirty work that Ayton just seems to be allergic to. He doesn't need the ball in his hands much, but can absolutely score when needed. Also, they brought in young Bol, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, who are all capable role players that can help in spot minutes. So with the big three of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal, alongside vet Eric Gordon and Nurkic, this team actually seems currently built for a long haul in the postseason. However, like the Lakers, the Suns will need health on their side. We saw both KD and Booker miss long stretches of last year's season. In fact, they had barely played alongside each other when the playoffs rolled around. Though KD can use the exemption placed on certain veterans to bypass the new load management rules, with the loaded Western Conference, he'll need to play to keep this team in the home court advantage range. With KD averaging almost 30 last season, Booker nearly 28, and Beal 23, I don't think scoring will be an issue, and having some size that will defend down low is going to be huge as they go into dogfights with the Lakers or Nuggets. So with that said, I like what Phoenix has put together, and while health again is paramount, if they can stay the course, they're definitely contenders. The Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are coming off one of the weirdest seasons I've ever seen. Pretty much a bottom feeder squad from opening night until the trade deadline. It was almost a tale of two halves or two thirds, however you want to break it down. They managed to start playing their best basketball come postseason and bully their way into the Western Conference Finals, but met the juggernaut that was the Denver Nuggets and were swept back to Hollywood. So now Rob Pelinka has put together what seems like a very solid group. Just looking at the roster now, they have surrounded LeBron James and Anthony Davis with a lot of youth. Jackson Hayes, returning Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, who had a spectacular run with the Heat to help them get to the NBA Finals, Taurean Prince, a defender that when paired with Jared Vanderbilt will give wings fits, and journeyman Christian Wood, who had an all-star level start to his season last year with the Mavericks but fizzled out due to Jason Kidd not feeling his work. D'Angelo Russell will hopefully bounce back from an uneven playoff performance, and Austin Reeves hopes to carry his same energy from last season into this one. The biggest questions for this team will be, can LeBron be LeBron in year 21, and can AD stay on the court for most of the season? The answer to both of those is yes, and they can definitely make some noise in the already crowded Western Conference. But will they? My way too early mind thinks this team will be good, even great, on paper, but I could see Father Time creeping in even further, and AD always seems to come in claiming he's in the best shape he's been in, and 2 or 3 weeks into the season, he's in street clothes. But you can't look past the fact that they have vastly improved from last year's early roster and tweaked their conference final squad to, in my opinion, get a little better. So my early verdict is contender. Health and growth will be paramount for them, but the way they are built, it is very doable. The Denver Nuggets. The reigning and defending NBA champions, God forbid I call them world champions, playoff Jokic was a thing to behold. If he wasn't a household name before the 2023 season, he definitely is now going into 2024. With a dominant playoff run, you would think the Nuggets are primed and ready to bulldoze the competition again, but looking at their roster, they've gotten a little weaker, especially their bench. Losing Bruce Brown, who was really an unsung hero for that team in the playoffs, and especially in the finals, is a big hit. Couple that with Jeff Green also exiting, and that hurts their secondary squads. However, I believe Denver still might have the best starting lineup in the NBA, hands down. The size, the athleticism, and the skill that positions 1 through 5 offer is something not every team can boast. KCP, Jamal Murray, who should definitely get an all-star nod this year if he remains as great as he was in the postseason, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic are all long, lanky, and know how to play. As we saw in the playoffs, they all play their role exceptionally well and just have the size and talent that most others don't. The question now is, do they have the bench to help them going forward? With Reggie Jackson coming off the bench, you have a solid point guard that can light it up in doses. Christian Brown will likely take a step up as he was featured somewhat in the playoffs, and having those high-level minutes under his belt, he should be a pretty solid backup. Justin Holiday, if he makes the roster, could be an okay secondary forward for them, but beyond the starters and Jackson and Brown, they're basically counting on youth and first-year guys to help them get back to the Larry O'Brien. This season may not look like last as far as their dominance, but I do think they'll find their way within the 1 through 3 range out west and have the necessary personnel to make another long postseason push. Mike Malone should have them ready, and he knows how to fire them up. So with that said, easily I believe they are a contender out west. But I have my reservations on if they can get back the swag they had in 2023. Now a few honorable mentions. I want to add the Memphis Grizzlies, Los Angeles Clippers, and Sacramento Kings, but we would be here for a while going through all of those teams, so I'll rapid fire my predictions. The Memphis Grizzlies, pretender, mostly because Ja will miss a chunk of the season. I think they're actually better, and if all healthy, I think we see a different outcome in the first round, but I still think maturity will be an issue, even with vets like Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose. So I think maybe one more year, and we could be seeing our first NBA Finals in a Memphis arena. The Los Angeles Clippers, health, and more health. They should be praying to the basketball gods for one full healthy season for both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. A year older all around, they still have a solid mix of youth and veterans that kind of remind me of the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, of course, if healthy. So with that, I have to put them as fringe contenders because Kawhi, when healthy, is otherworldly. We saw that briefly against Phoenix. And couple him with Paul George, and you have a duo that can wreak havoc on most of these teams. The Sacramento Kings. Like the Grizzlies, I believe they are a year or two away from being able to get a full contender status. I really like what Mike Brown has done with this team. They are young. The teams they beat out last year have all gotten better in my opinion. So definitely a pretender, but I think we'll be singing a different tune come 2025 and beyond. So those are my way too early contenders and pretenders for the 2024 NBA season as we prepare for training camps and preseason. Of course, as we've seen, anything can happen in the world of the association. So I could be completely wrong on my assessments, but for now, I'm sticking to them. Check back later this week as I will do my early contenders and pretenders for the Eastern Conference. And as always, if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please like and subscribe to the channel. The road to 1K has begun and I appreciate all of you for helping. Also, don't miss the newest podcast episode in the link listed below in the description, as I talk about some of these teams in depth, as well as Dame time in Milwaukee, plus my YouTube short of the week. Thank you guys, and be back soon with more content.